Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Matty here from Chill TCG. Now, Evolving Skies, the newest Pokemon TCG expansion, is right around the corner. It comes out this Friday. It'll be legal for standard play for official Pokemon events 2 weeks after that, but the new set will be released on PTCGO, I think, that day or the following day, and that's immediately when we'll start making content on the new, all the new cards, all the new decks, going into deck profiles, and that's when it'll be legal for Chill Series events as well. But it's Monday as I record this, and what I wanted to do was go ahead and look at 10 new decks, new archetypes that are coming with Evolving Skies. These are all going to be based around kind of the new VMAX cards. I didn't take a look at any single prize archetypes or any budget decks today. We're going to be taking a look at the VMAXs, and this is not going to be a post-rotation video. I'm going to do a separate one about the best decks in post-rotation in the upcoming days, but for right now, I just wanted to take a look at what all the kind of the new decks are going to look like with all these new cards being released in the Team Up through Evolving Skies format. So let's get right into it. I'm super excited. I love when new cards come out. I really cannot wait. And hopefully this gives you guys some ideas of what you might want to play, what you might want to build, and kind of help strategize going into the new set release here up in this upcoming Friday. So let's get right into it. I can't wait. All right, now to kick off the video, we're going to go ahead and just immediately take a look at the list and the new archetype, new deck that I think that most people are excited for, kind of the front runner for this Evolving Skies set, and that is going to be the new Rayquaza VMAX, whatever you want to pronounce it. This card is looking absolutely insane. Dragon types are back, and if you didn't know it already, if you haven't heard all the news, it's true. We're getting 2 new Dragon type VMAXs as well as some other Dragon type Pokemon. Rayquaza is the one of them. We have a Rapid Strike, which is going to be the Rayquaza, and we also have a Duraludon VMAX, which is a Dragon type, which we'll also be taking a look at, and the Duraludon is Single Strike. But Rayquaza is actually really cool. All these new Dragon type Pokemon are a little bit crazy. They do not have a weakness or a resistance, which is just a little bit crazy if you think about how important weakness and resistance is in the Pokemon trading card game right now. But it's definitely looks to be a really strong Pokemon. It's going to be a really impressive archetype. Before we look at the both the Rayquaza cards, I actually want to talk about the new Flaffy, which is coming out in Evolving Skies as well. It's got the ability Dynamotor, and this is going to be kind of a throwback for some people here. Once during your turn, you may attach a Psychic Energy card from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. This is really good, right? It's a Stage 1 Pokemon. It is 90 HP, so it is searchable with Level Ball. We're going to be able to evolve into it, and then once per turn, we're going to be able to attach those energies. In fact, we can actually use Dynamotor multiple times for multiple Flaffies, I believe. So if you have 2 or 3 Flaffies on your bench, that's 2 or 3 Psychic Energies from your discard pile, you get to attach every turn. Actually kind of insane, and once we take a look at Rayquaza VMAX, you'll understand just how good this card is really going to be, but definitely going to be really useful in almost every Electric-type deck moving forward, especially maybe if we're running Turbo Bolton or things like that. Definitely going to be really good. Now, until rotation happens, we still have access to Tapu Koko Prism Star, and you could potentially put that in this list as well. I don't think that would be bad at all. But this is definitely kind of looking to be mostly focused on a post-rotation Rayquaza list, but we still have some pre-rotation cards thrown in here. But yeah, Flaffy's going to be really good. It's the main way we accelerate the energies. But once we go ahead and take a look at Rayquaza VMAX, it'll all kind of fall into place. But Rayquaza V, Rapid Strike Dragon type Pokemon. It's got 210 HP, retreat cost of 2, so Air Balloon is going to give it that free retreat. We are running 2 in this list. But it's got 2 attacks. The first one for 1 Lightning Energy Dragon Pulse, 40 damage, and you discard the top 2 cards of your deck. So not very good realistically, but getting that 40 damage off, could be really clutch in some scenarios, just especially for just 1 Lightning Energy. Not too bad, but for most of these V Pokemon that are meant to evolve into VMAXs, they're not going to be that great. The second attack, Spiral Burst, for a Fire and a Lightning Energy. And that's another thing, too. All of these Dragon-type Pokemon have kind of mixed energy attack costs, right? Because there's no Dragon energy, so that's kind of how they do it. But anyway, for a Fire and a Lightning Energy, 20 damage plus, you may discard up to 2 basic Fire-type energy cards or up to 2 basic Electric-type energy cards from this Pokemon. And it does 80 more damage for each card you discarded this way. So an extremely powerful attack, realistically, right? If we discard... well, it says or, but I think you can discard 1 of each. If not, I don't know. It still wouldn't be that difficult, but you discard 2 energies off of Rayquaza, and then you're doing 80 for each, so that's 160 plus 2, and that's 100, and or sorry, that's 160, 180 damage total, is actually really good for 2 energies on a basic Pokemon. Absolutely kind of insane. Realistically, just straight Rayquaza V might actually just be a pretty good card in its own right. However, we're definitely going to want to evolve into the VMAX, and Rayquaza VMAX, this thing is an absolute beast. 320 HP, Dragon type, retreat cost of 2, no weakness, no resistance, like I said. It's got the ability Azure Pulse. I think that's how you would say that, Azure. But once during your turn, you may discard your hand and then draw 3 cards. So an incredibly powerful Pokemon, and a really powerful ability because, you know, we can just discard our hand and draw 3. We don't have to draw until we have 3 cards in our hand, right? So if we have no cards in our hand, it's just a +3 draw. It can be on our bench. It can be on our active spot. That's going to be really powerful. But also, just discarding the cards is actually gives this deck a lot of synergy. Like I said, we're going to want to discard those lightning energies so we can attach them from our discard pile to the Rayquaza with Flaffy, right? So a lot of synergy there. Not only can we discard the cards that we need to then put them back onto Rayquaza, but we can also draw 3 cards in the process. The attack on this thing is actually kind of insane. Max Burst. So for a fire and a lightning energy, just like the V Pokemon, this is kind of just like a better version. Does 20 damage, plus you may discard any amount of lightning or fire energy from this Pokemon, and it does 80 more damage for each card you discarded this way. So the real strategy with Rayquaza is going to be piling a ton of energies onto this thing through Flaffy. You know, we could use Tapu Koko Prism Star if you put that in your list. You could run Welder technically, but I think for this list, we're just going to be going straight up with the Flaffy engine. We get 3 or 4 of these things on our bench, and we're just kind of absolutely just wrecking energies off the Rayquaza. It's also another thing, too, is like after we attack, we discard those energies, and then we can bring them right back on with our Flaffy. So definitely going to be really, really powerful. A little bit of a setup deck. I think it's similar to Shadow Rider in that sense. However, it's going to be a little bit more to set up, and I think it's going to be a little bit more inconsistent that way, but definitely has that insane damage potential. Of course, you just need 2 energies on this thing to attack, so at the very least, you're doing that 180 damage. But if you get 3 energies on, then you're doing 260 damage, all the way up to 320 just for 4 energies on this Rayquaza, which is actually really, really, really powerful and really good. So I expect Rayquaza VMAX to see a lot of play. It's also a Rapid Strike Pokemon, which is funny because Rapid Strike always gets the best cards, gets the best Pokemon. But, you know, either way, I think that Rayquaza is going to be probably one of the top decks in the format, at least before rotation. We'll have to see. You never know. But I think the fact that it doesn't have a weakness is actually really advantageous for this card. But the list overall, just to take a look at it, you know, it's not too crazy. You know, we're running 4-4 Flappy Mareep lineup, 3-3 Rayquaza. We do have a Dedenne Crobat for draw support. We do have a Zorora V in there because it is a Rapid Strike Pokemon, right? So after we attack with Rayquaza, we can go ahead and like double Flaffy, couple energies on the Zorora, and then we can go ahead and snipe the bench for you know, multiple prize knockout, which is I think definitely worth putting a Zorora in the deck. I think it's going to be a lot of utility. It's going to help a lot. Standard supporter lineup. We got a Quick Ball, Evolution Incense, Switch, and then those 2 level balls, like I said, help us find the Flaffies, and then 2 Pokecoms. 2 Air Balloon going to give us free retreats, so we have plenty of switching outs. Definitely a kind of compact, simplified list here, but I think it's definitely going to be pretty beneficial to have a list like that. 9 lightning energies, and of course 4 of the fire energies. And the other thing I wanted to take a look at, and I wanted to mention, was this new stadium card that is coming out in this set, Stormy Mountains, which is a card literally, I think, made for Rayquaza, but obviously it will work in other scenarios as well. This stadium card, it reads, once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a basic lightning Pokemon or a basic dragon Pokemon, put that onto their bench, and then they shuffle their deck. So it's just going to be a consistent way for you to find that Rayquaza V or the Mareep to put down on your bench. You can also grab the Dedenne GX, but I don't know if you really want to because I think you have to play that from your hand to use the effect. But you can also grab Zorora. So it's just a more consistent way to make sure that we get all those basic Pokemon on our bench. And really, this stadium, I think, is kind of the backbone to the list. Yeah, we're running tons of Pokemon Search to make this deck that much more consistent because we need to set up early game. But this Stormy Mountain is going to help a whole lot, especially since it doesn't go away after you use it if your opponent doesn't play a stadium. So it's just kind of one of those deals. We're running 4 of those. Path to the Peak is going to be a big threat for us. It doesn't shut off our Dynamote or Flaffies, but it will shut off the abilities of course, the Rayquaza VMAX, Crobat, Dedenne. So running 4 of those stadiums, we're going to hopefully not have to deal with Path to the Peak too much when you're playing this list, but I think that Stormy Mountain makes Rayquaza that much better. But either way, Rayquaza VMAX, I know everyone's really excited for it, so I wanted to get it out of the way. Yeah, absolutely insane. All right, and next up on our list, and these lists, it's not in any particular order, okay? I mean, it's a list, but it's not an ordered list. This isn't in any order particularly. I just wanted to get the dragon types out of the way because I think they're the most hype, or we're probably the most excited for the new dragon type cards. But number 2 here, in no particular order, is going to be Duraludon VMAX, so the single strike dragon VMAX Pokemon, which is coming out in Evolving Skies. The one that personally I kind of like a little bit more. I'm always down for the underdogs. I know everybody's going to be playing Rayquaza, so I think Duraludon is definitely going to be really good. I'm super excited to play it. But Duraludon V is a 220 HP Dragon-type Pokemon, retreat cost of 2. Very similar to Rayquaza, no weakness, no resistance, but it's got 2 attacks here. Fighting Energy and a Metal. Metal costs 70 damage, 70 for 2 on a basic, not too bad. But then for 1 Fighting, 2 Metal, we do 140 damage, and then during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attacks do 30 less damage. Nothing too special with Duraludon here. I know there's actually a Metal-type Duraludon, which you can use to evolve into Duraludon VMAX. That might be a preferred. Honestly, that might be the better Duraludon. This is the new one, so I just wanted to put it in the deck. I just wanted to feature it. But I do think the basic Duraludon, the Metal Duraludon V, is going to be actually better because it's a target for Metal Saucer. Vice versa, I think it's overall just kind of a better card. But who knows? This is the new one. Personally, I think I'll probably be running the Metal, the old Duraludon. I think that came out in, I don't know what set that came out in, to be honest with you. But it might have... What set was that? Was that Rebel Clash? I have no idea. But Metal-type Duraludon V, probably the one I'm going to go with. But Dragon-type Duraludon V, the new one, not too bad. But the VMAX, though, is actually kind of insane. 330 HP on Duraludon VMAX, so kind of a tanky Pokemon. No weakness or resistance. Retreat cost is, however, 3, so no air balloon free retreat. However, it has the ability Skyscraper, and prevent it. Basically, right, what it reads is you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks of your opponent's Pokemon that have any special energy attached to it. So this thing is immune to damage for any Pokemon with a special energy. And I think that especially in post-rotation, special energy is going to be so common. They're just really good. Things in like E-Turn and all those types of decks, they're going to be running Hiding Energy. Aurora Energy is super common in the format right now. Speed Energy and Electric type decks. There's Stone Energy and Fighting type decks. So I think that, and we also have things like Capture Energy as well, right? So if you think about it, there are just so many special type energies in the format right now, and a lot of decks are going to be kind of sprinkling them in, and they got to be really careful when they go up against Duraludon VMAX. They're not going to be able to really utilize a lot of those special energies that are in their list. So definitely a really powerful ability, and the deck is going to be kind of themed around having that type of immunity. And we'll see that in just a sec. It's got the attack, though, for a fighting and 2 metal energies. G-Max Pulverization does 220 damage. And this attack's damage isn't affected by effects of your opponent's active Pokemon. So this means that, well, I suppose, I guess like a Full Metal Wall GX isn't going to do it. Metal Saucer, or not Metal Saucer, Metal Goggles. Anything that's going to reduce damage and effect on the active Pokemon, it's just not going to work. We're doing 220 damage no matter what every time. Not barring resistance, though, I think. So if something does resist Dragon, which I don't think anything does, I guess that would still resist it. But that's not the case. 220 damage every turn. Going to be absolutely, it's going to be actually kind of crazy. I mean, that's pretty consistent damage. But I think the big thing about Duraludon is it's mainly a defensive Pokemon, where Rayquaza is kind of a offensive VMAX Pokemon. The deck list, though, is kind of built around that kind of fact. We do have a Zamazenta V thrown in here, and I do think that combination between those 2 immunities is going to be extremely powerful. We are running the Bronzong metal transfer engine. I just think it's going to be the most consistent way, or I guess the most aggressive way to play this list. 8 metal energies and 4 Aurora. Now, this is a single strike Pokemon with fighting energy and its attack cost, so of course we could use the single strike energies to increase the damage done by Duraludon VMAX, but I think that the Aurora energies kind of fit better in the list. Personally, gives us some synergy here. We can play the Aurora energy onto something, discard a metal energy, and then Metal Saucer it back on. So I think it just has a little bit more synergy with Metal Saucer and Metal Transfer, things like that. And for that reason, that's why we're going with Aurora energy. Aurora energy is also nice because it can be a metal and a fighting, right? So we do have 1 Zapdos V thrown in here, and that's, of course, just going to be our fighting type attacker. Since fighting type energy is in the attack cost of Duraludon, it makes sense to just kind of run a fighting type Pokemon. The best basic type fighting type attacker in the game right now is Zapdos, so that's probably going to be really useful in those dark type matchups. 1 Crobat, 1 Dedenne, and we do have 2 Zacian V. It's a metal type deck. You should always have Zacian V, not just for the incredible attack and potential from Zacian V, but also just the Intrepid Sword ability, which is going to be, of course, always one of the best ways to end your turn if you're going first, or even if you're going second, right? So actually kind of insane. Everything else in here, though, kind of typical deck building, fundamental stuff. Standard supporter lineup, Metal Saucer, Quick Ball, Pokecom, Switch, Evolution Incense. We do have 2 Chaotic Swells in here. Of course, with all of these Pokemon with abilities, literally all of our Pokemon have abilities pretty much. We don't want those to get shut off. We want to be able to Intrepid Sword. We want Dauntless Shield to be there. We want Skyscraper to be there. We want to utilize Zapdos, Crobat, Dedenne. So Path to the Peak, definitely a dangerous card in this matchup. You might even justify running more than 2 Chaotic Swell. But for me, I think that you need at least 2 in this deck when you're playing Duraludon. You definitely don't want to get walled by Path to the Peak. That would definitely be pretty bad. And we are running 2 Cheryl, just like you always would run in Bronzong Engine decks. We're going to be able to move those energies off of Duraludon. And that's actually another point that I totally just spaced on, but you can move Aurora energies with Bronzong, and you can't do that with the fighting energies, the single strike energy. So I think that Aurora is definitely the better option given that kind of fact. Yeah, so we're going to be able to move Aurora energy and Metal energy from any of our Pokemon with Metal Transfer Bronzong. But yeah, we're going to move those energies off. We're going to Cheryl, heal all that HP from Duraludon. I'm going to make this Pokemon really tanky, really defensive, and it's going to be, in some matchups, almost entirely impossible to deal with Duraludon. And for that reason, I think it's definitely going to be super, super fun to play. Will it be better than Rayquaza? I don't know. It's up to you guys to decide. We'll see how the format evolves in the next coming week when all these cards are released. Again, on Friday or probably this upcoming weekend when we have access to all these cards on PTCGO, we'll be doing deck profiles. We'll be hopping into some games. We'll kind of test out the best ways to play this deck. By no means is these lists the end-all be-all ways you should be playing these cards, but I thought we would just kind of showcase and give you guys some ideas of what to play. But yeah, Duraludon VMAX, the other Dragon-type VMAX of this new expansion. And definitely kind of the underdog at this point, but it's definitely going to be really fun, and I definitely cannot wait. Going to make a lot of people rage. But let me know in the comment section below. Rayquaza or Duraludon, Rapid Strike, Single Strike, let me know. But let's move on to the next deck. All right, next up we have Garbodor VMAX. Absolutely hilarious. Probably one of the silliest Pokemon to ever be designed. But Garbodor VMAX, I mean, it's absolutely no joke, and I'm actually really excited to try out this list and play it. Garbodor V, right off the bat, let's take a look at it. Dark-type Pokemon, 210 HP, retreat cost of 3. Don't worry, it's just the V Pokemon. It's got 2 attacks. The first one, Dark, and a colorless Trash Stench. 40 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. During your opponent's next turn, it cannot retreat. Not too terrible. Then the second attack there for 2 Dark and a colorless is Sludge Bomb, 130 damage. Realistically, Garbodor V, kind of a terrible Pokemon. You're never going to play it. Not going to be that good. But the VMAX kind of has some merit to it. Definitely a more interesting card. So when we go ahead and take a look at the VMAX, just give me one moment so I can pull it up so I know what I'm talking about. All right, the VMAX. Absolutely hilarious. 330 HP, so again, pretty bulky. Dark type, retreat cost of 3. These Pokemon are actually weak to fighting, so keep that in mind. Going to be kind of dangerous in the Urshifu matchup, similar to E-Turn. However, Garbodor VMAX, it's got the ability Rubbish Collecting, and this is actually pretty awesome. So this Pokemon may have up to 2 Pokemon tools attached to it. And if it loses its ability through Path to the Peak or other means, then you just discard a Pokemon tool from it until it only has 1. So you just get to attach an extra Pokemon tool to Garbodor. It doesn't seem like that much, but we're kind of building the deck around this fact. The attack on this thing, though, Dark and a colorless Gmax Malador. I don't know what that means. Might be a mistranslation. I don't know. But 120 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoning. During their next turn, they cannot retreat. So we're definitely not doing a whole lot of damage with Garbodor VMAX. We're definitely going to be kind of whittling away. And as you see the deck that we've built right now, that's kind of the strategy. Yeah, absolutely kind of hilarious if you think about it. We are running the Shady Dealings Inteleon engine, and we're doing this because we have a lot of cards in the deck that are going to be extremely important, a lot of trainer cards that are going to be very important to get out as early as possible. Of course, Shady Dealings, get to evolve the Pokemon search deck for a trainer card. Definitely going to be really good. We have a Dedenne GX as well. Standard supporter lineup, we are running a Guzmahela and a Malolana. The reason we're running the Guzmahela is because we have a lot of Pokemon tool cards, which we are going to be wanting to find, as well as those 2 Chaotic Swells, because we do not want Path to the Peak to shut off our abilities. Malolana is also going to be kind of good. We're kind of running, it's a little bit more of a tanky deck. We're hopefully trying to survive for a little while, take some hits. That's kind of the main way that this deck functions, so Malolana kind of makes sense. But 4 Quick Ball, 3 Level Ball, going to help with the Shady Dealings engine, 2 Evo Incense, 2 Pokecom, 2 Switch, and an Air Balloon for a switching outs, and we do have Reset Stamp. But kind of the meat and potatoes of the deck are going to be the 2 tool cards, which we're going to be running, the 2 types of tool cards, and that is going to be Giant Bomb and Rugged Helmet. Giant Bomb's been out for a little while. Rugged Helmet came out in Chilling Reign, I believe, unless it came out in Battle Cells. I don't know. I kind of forget. But Giant Bomb is actually really, really crazy. So whenever you get hit for 180 damage or more, I believe you do 100 damage to the attacking Pokemon. That's what Giant Bomb does. However, it only survives for 1 turn, so you attach it, and then if you don't get hit, or whether it works that turn or it doesn't, it just gets discarded. But absolutely fantastic, right? We're going to be wanting to force our opponent to hit our Garbodor VMAX, right? And if they do, they take that extra 100 damage, and we're going to be hitting for 120 every turn with poison, so the damage will add up, and that's kind of the main idea behind Giant Bomb. But we're also running Rugged Helmet, which is going to discard an energy from the active Pokemon when they attack us. So if we can get that Rugged Helmet and the Giant Bombs on our Garbodor, they're going to be discarding their energies if they attack us, and they're going to be taking damage. It's going to be a really kind of annoying deck. It's going to be quite a bit of setup. Not going to lie, you got to evolve. Got to get the 2 energies on. We also have to get the 2 tool cards onto Garbodor. But if we do, it's definitely going to be really annoying to deal with. And most of our bench sitting Pokemon are going to be single prizers as well. So if you think about it, they're not really good. They're going to have to go through at least 1 or 2 Garbodor to win the game. That's the most realistic option. We're not running Mew in here because Mew will rotate soon. Yeah. 1 Dedenne GX as well, just in case you need it, but I would recommend not playing that Dedenne GX if you don't have to, because you want them to have to go through the Garbodors to take their prizes. But absolutely hilarious deck. In my opinion, it's going to be really fun to play. Will it be top tier? I don't know. Probably not. It's definitely not going to be the best Dark-type deck option, but I do find it really interesting. I think that it's going to be a really fun deck to play, and I think that the concept behind Garbodor VMAX is actually quite entertaining. It definitely could be really cool. It's also a card that changes. It's going to be an archetype in a deck that changes as time goes on. The more tool cards we get, the more synergy we get between different cards that are going to be released in the future. But for right now, this was kind of the list that I found that I thought from Japan that I thought would be perhaps the most fun way to play Garbodor. Let me know, though. Let me know. What do you guys think of Garbodor? Are you going to try it out? Is it something that you find could be good at one point? Who knows? Giant Bomb is always kind of hit or miss, and I don't know if Rugged Helmet's very relevant in the format right now, but definitely could be a really annoying deck to play against, and I think that's kind of the main idea. Even if you don't win the game, you're definitely going to be annoying your opponent, and that's kind of fun in its own right. But yeah, Garbodor VMAX, pretty funny. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but let's move on to the next deck. All right, next up, we've got our guy here, Jolteon VMAX. Now, all the evolutions are coming in Evolving Skies. Again, kind of the main selling point of the set. A lot of these are going to be pretty good. I don't know if Jolteon VMAX is going to be the best of the evolutions, but I figured why not. I actually found this list, and I think it was inspired off of Celio Network's list. Luke Morsa. I saw it had Orbeetle in it, so I had to feature it in the video. If you guys don't know, I'm a big Orbeetle fan. Spread decks are really fun, and that is, of course, actually what Jolteon does best. So let's take a look. Jolteon V, Lightning-type Pokemon, free retreat on this thing, and 190 HP. Again, weak to fighting energy. Excuse me. First attack for a colorless. Thunder Spear does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Don't apply weakness or resistance. Kind of just like a little snipe attack for 1 energy. Not too bad. But the second attack, Lightning Energy, 2 colorless, Pin Missile, 60 damage, flip 4 coins. And it does 60 damage for each head. So you have the potential to do 240 damage, but most of the time, on average, you're going to do 120 for 3 energies. Not too great. But the VMAX is a little bit better. So let's take a look at that VMAX. 300 in HP on this thing, so again, not very bulky at all. Actually, very frail for a VMAX Pokemon. 300 damage, definitely a little bit sketchy. However, free retreat, definitely pretty good. And the attack on this thing is actually really interesting as well. Lightning Energy and a colorless. Max Thunder Rumble does 100 damage, and it also does 100 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon that has any damage counters onto it already. And that's important to note. Don't apply weakness or resistance to the bench Pokemon. So 100 to the active, 100 to the bench. Actually a really powerful attack just for 2 energies. And in my opinion, definitely has a lot of merit. And probably will see a lot of play at some point, right? It's a really powerful attack. Kind of a high risk, high reward Pokemon. But one that I really like. And it actually goes very well here with Orbeetle VMAX. So Orbeetle VMAX, if you don't know, every turn, if you just get to, if you're in the active, you get to put 1 damage counter onto all of your opponent's Pokemon. It's a very fun spread deck. Was never too good in the long run, but it does have the attack as well, which does more damage for more energy that are on your opponent's Pokemon, so could be pretty good. Realistically, they kind of go together really well. Each one has a colorless energy in their attack cost, 1 grass, 1 lightning, and 1 colorless, you know what I mean? Just for 2 energy, so they should go together pretty well. We're running the Make Do Cinccino engine. I mean, in my opinion, I don't know. You could run this deck a lot of different ways, but I think with Orbeetle, running this single prize draw engine is probably the best way to go. We are running a 3-3 Jolteon lineup and a 2-2 Orbeetle lineup. We're probably not going to be attacking with Orbeetle that much. However, we can. It actually can do a decent amount of damage in some scenarios. But for the most part, we're probably going to want to be attacking with Jolteon, kind of doing 100 to the active, 100 to the bench. That can really add up. It really can. And I think this deck in this card has a lot more potential than people think it does. Definitely going to be one of the most entertaining decks that you definitely can be playing. Going to take a lot of skill, but again, high risk, high reward. We do have Snorlax in there. Gormandize Snorlax, a great card. Crobat, Zigzagoon as well, with 1 scoop up net, so we can kind of place a damage counter here or there if we need to as well. And we do have a Marshadow. The Marshadow is important, mainly because of Path to the Peak. Kind of shuts off this deck, I'm not going to lie. It's just kind of how it goes. We're not running any of our own stadiums. We're not running Chaotic Swells or anything like that. So the 1 Marshadow hopefully can help us in certain scenarios. Realistically, though, you really only need to get Orbeetle off like once or twice, get those damage counters on, and then you don't really need to worry about it. So not a big deal. But yeah, 1 Marshadow thrown in here, 3 Marnie, 3 Birdkeeper, 2 Cheryl, and 2 Boss's Orders. The Cheryl is interesting. I think it's mainly there just to heal up our Orbeetles because, like I said, we're probably not going to be attacking with them very often. And it's just kind of one of those deals where, you know, I think it makes a lot of sense. It also works well with Elemental Badge, which is definitely pretty cool as well. I think I might be thinking the wrong badge. We'll have to see. Let me take a look at that. But yeah, 2 Boss's Orders, 4 Quick Ball, 3 Evolution Incense, 3 Level Balls. Tons of Pokemon Search, trying to make the list that much more consistent. 2 Switch, got the Pal Pad in there to shuffle some of the supporters back into the deck. Birdkeeper, Cheryl, Boss, all good supporters that you're going to want to have late into the game. 1 Scoop Up Net, like I said. 2 Air Balloon, going to give all our Pokemon free retreat, even though Jolteon already has free retreat. And then, of course, we have the new Elemental Badge. And let me pull that up so we can go ahead and take a look. So Elemental Badge. Yeah, so if the Pokemon V or VMAX, right, is what that means, this card is attached to, has Vaporeon, Jolteon, or Flareon in the name. Its attack costs 1 less colorless energy, and this is actually really, really good. So we can attach this to Jolteon, right, and then its attack cost is literally only 1 lightning energy, and this is actually really, really good. So we can go ahead and attach Elemental Badge, and we can Cheryl pretty freely because we only need to attach once, right, to get that attack off yet again. So doing 100 to the active and 100 to the bench for 1 energy is actually extraordinarily powerful, and I actually think it makes this deck that much more better. Yeah, I mean, I really want you guys to let me know what you think of Jolteon. I think it's extremely powerful. It has a lot of potential, and I think that pairing it up with Orbeetle is actually a really smart move. But if there's probably a lot of other ways to play Jolteon, this was just kind of the one that I thought of, or not that I thought of, but that I chose to put in the video that I saw from Luke Morris, Celio Network's video that he did. And I don't know where he got it from. I don't know where to give the credit to, but I didn't invent it. I just noticed it, and it definitely seems to be extremely fun, in my opinion. 4 Capture Energies, 4 Aurora. That's going to help us. Of course, it's all colorless energies, all energy types. So we're going to be able to attach that to Jolteon, attach it to Orbeetle, works as the lightning and the grass energy. It just kind of makes sense, but we also do have 4 basic lightning energies as well because Jolteon is the main attacker. We're probably not going to be attacking with Orbeetle that much. But yeah, the deck has a lot of synergy, has a lot of potential, and in my opinion, definitely could be really, really, really good. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Personally, one of my favorites, not just because it has Orbeetle in it. All right, yeah, I mean, it's probably just because it has Orbeetle in it, but I think it will actually be pretty good. I cannot wait. But let's move on to the next deck. Let's see what we're working with. All right, and next up, we actually have Gyarados V and VMAX. Now, probably one of the lower tier decks that is going to be probably on this list. I don't think that Gyarados is going to be super high tier, but I do think it'll be really fun. It'll be really interesting, and I think the list that's built right here definitely has some synergy, and it's going to be pretty cool to play. Gyarados V, water type, of course. Retreat cost a 3, weak to electric type. Basic Pokemon here. It's got 2 attacks. The first one for 2 water and a colorless has the attack Get Angry. Does 20 damage for each damage counter that is on this Pokemon. That typically wouldn't be that great. There's a lot of Pokemon that can one-hit KO Gyarados, but if you notice, we are actually running some memory capsules. We're going to attach those to Gyarados VMAX, and if anything hits us for a lot of damage in E-turn, whatever it might be, it's pretty much just an outrage return one-hit KO on anything, right, if you think about it. Whatever you hit that Gyarados VMAX for, if it does have memory capsule onto it, it is going to do double the damage back to you the next turn, and I think that's really the main bread and butter with a list like this, but it does have some other merits. Gyarados V second attack, 3 water and a colorless, 4 energies total, 180 damage, heavy storm, sorry. Not too crazy. That first attack, though, is going to be really good, which is why we are running the memory capsule, but Gyarados V as its own card, not that crazy. Getting into the VMAX, though, Gyarados VMAX, definitely super cool. I love seeing Gyarados in a VMAX card. Water type, 330 HP, retreat cost of 4, so there's no way you're retreating out, or if you are, good luck with that. The first attack, Hyper Beam, 2 water and a colorless, 120 damage, and you discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. You'll also notice that we have 4 Crushing Hammers in this list, so the deck kind of goes both ways. You're never really... well, most of the time, you're going to just want to get 3 energies onto the Gyarados. That's a lot easier to do than 4, realistically, and we have 2 great attacks from the V with Memory Capsule and just the VMAX here that we can kind of work with. So Hyper Beam, 120 damage, discard an energy. We also have Crushing Hammer, so we're kind of going that route with the deck. We're going to be able to discard some energies, kind of lock down our opponent while kind of chipping away with some damage. And then we have the Get Angry attack to kind of get some crazy one-hit, big return one-hit KOs. The second attack for Gyarados VMAX, 3 water and a colorless, max Tyrant, 240 damage. So 4 energy, 240, not that great. Ice Rider does 250 for 2, but it is there. If you can't just get that 4th energy on, you don't have Memory Capsule, it is a way to do some nice big damage. 120 plus 240, 260, that's enough to 2-hit KO any Pokemon in the format, realistically, right? So yeah. It's interesting, nonetheless. It's a little bit awkward, but definitely has a lot of potential. The only thing here is when you're running a water-type Pokemon with this high of an energy cost, you kind of have to run the Frostmoth engine with Ice Dance. And I mean, it's not great. It is searchable with Level Ball, so that is a route that we can go. We're not actually playing Level Ball in the deck now that I noticed that. But it is, of course, the best way for us to accelerate energies onto our water-type Pokemon. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We are also running Suicune V in the deck. Suicune V is an awesome new card coming out in Chilling Reign. A lot of people are hyped for it, and it is actually going to be quite a good card. Water type, basic V Pokemon, 210 HP, weak to lightning energy. Retreat cost of 2. So free retreat, nice pivot with Air Balloon, and that is going to be the main reason why we're playing Suicune. It's got the ability Fleet-Footed. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon's in the active spot, you can draw 1 card. So it's pretty much just a really nice pivot Pokemon. If something gets KO'd, you can bring Suicune up, draw 1 extra card, retreat back out. That's the main reason why we're playing the Suicune. We do have 4 switch cards, though, so if we really need that 1 card, we can switch into Suicune, draw the card, and retreat out for free. We're not going to be retreating out with Gyarados, so we are running 4 switches, but Suicune V, pretty good. It also has the attack Blizzard Rondo. Definitely one of my favorite attack names of all time. Water Energy and a colorless does 20 damage, and also 20 more for each benched Pokemon, both yours and your opponents, and this is actually really good. It's going to be a really great counter to things like Eternatus, but most decks in this format are going to have their bench full of Pokemon, and if they have 5 Pokemon on their bench and you have 5 Pokemon on their bench, You're doing 220 damage for just 2 energies on a basic Pokemon. Really powerful. Realistically, it's a great Pokemon all around, and I think it has a really good spot in our game right now, in our standard format, especially post-rotation. I think it's just a really great little tool. It's just a great Pokemon. So we got 2 of those in the deck as well. Crobat, Dedenne. We do have a Mew in here because this is a pre-rotation video. So Mew is still standard, legal, right, for the next few weeks after the set comes out. It's going to help protect our Snoms and our Frostmoths and our Dedenne and Crobats, right? So I think it's really important, especially when you're running a Frostmoth deck that thing only has 90 HP, so you definitely want to have that thing protected with Bench Barrier Mew. We got 4 Research, 3 Boss's Orders, and we are running 3 Melanie. So on top of the Frostmoth, we are running Melanie. It's really important that we get 3 energies on this Gyarados. That's the main way we're even going to be able to do anything with this deck. So I think that the 3 Melanie does make quite a bit of sense, and it's going to be really important, right? Like I said, getting those energies on. So we also have Frostmoth. We're not running Capacious Bucket, which is interesting, but 9 energies to capture shouldn't be that necessary, especially with Melanie in here. 2 Marty and those 4 Crushing Hammers, like I said. 4 Quick Ball, 4 Switch, 2 Evolution Incense, 2 Pokecom. We do have a Reset Stamp in there, 2 Air Balloon, 2 Memory Capsule, and that's kind of how it goes. You're going to attach those Memory Capsules to your Gyarados, attach the Air Balloons to your Suicunes, and you know, the deck does have some synergy, so if you get set up, if things kind of work out for you, if you're drawing well, you're definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with Gyarados VMAX. A little bit awkward, a lot of a setup to go on. I know there's other decks that are a bit more consistent, less setup, but I never said Gyarados would be super high tier, but I did think it would be pretty fun to play. Similar, honestly, to like a Lapras VMAX, you know what I mean? Definitely has a lot of potential, can be really crazy in some matchups, but sometimes it just doesn't do what you need it to do. 1 Chaotic Swell, again, Path to the Peak could be kind of annoying, shuts off Suicune, shuts off Crobat, Dedenne, so Chaotic Swell just kind of makes the most sense, I think, in the deck. We only need 1, though, not super important. 9 Waters and 2 Capture Energy, so Gyarados VMAX. It's definitely fun. It has some synergy. I can understand, you know, how someone would play this deck, and this was, I guess, the list that made the most sense to me. But I want you guys to let me know what you guys think in the comment section below of Gyarados VMAX. Definitely not a card and not a Pokemon that is anyone's talking about, but I do think it could be a really fun, maybe tier 2 deck. We'll have to see. But I love hearing your guys' opinions, so I really just want you to let me know. If you're watching this video, let me know what your favorite deck is. What do you think the underdog deck will be? I know everyone likes Rayquaza. Umbreon is a really good card. We'll take a look at all that stuff later. But, you know, out of any of these sort of underdog decks, like which one do you think might be the most viable to play? Either way, Gyarados VMAX, it's going to be super fun. I love water-type Pokemon as well, and I love Gyarados. But that being said, let's get into the next Pokemon. All right, moving on, we have Flareon VMAX. Out of all the evolutions, this one to me definitely seems to be, I guess, the most interesting, the most quirky of the evolutions. Definitely kind of funny, and the deck this list right here might look pretty weird to you, but we'll get into it. We'll explain it a little bit. Not going to spend too much time on Flareon, but it is definitely kind of cool. Flareon V, again, single strike, both Flareon V and VMAX, fire-type Pokemon. Flareon V, 210 HP, retreat cost of 2, weak to water type. It's got the attack Flaming Breath for 1 colorless energy, does 20 damage, search your deck for a fire energy card, and attach it to this Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. It's actually quite good. I actually do kind of like that attack, especially if you're going second. It's a great way to kind of set up. The second attack, Scorching Column, 2 fire and a colorless, 120 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned, so nothing really to scoff out there. Definitely pretty average, I guess, not impressive V Pokemon. But the VMAX, though, definitely a little bit more interesting. 320 HP on this guy, retreat cost of 2, weak to water. Fire energy, fire and 2 colorless energy in the attack cost. It has the attack Max Detonate. Does 100 damage times discard the top 5 cards of your deck. Does 100 damage for each energy card you discarded this way. So again, you have the potential to do 500 damage for 3 energy. Definitely has, I guess, a lot of potential, but definitely going to be a little bit awkward for the most part. We're probably going to be doing 200 or 300 damage with that attack for 3 energy, which is quite decent, but kind of the luck of the draw type deal, but definitely has the potential to get some crazy one-hit KOs, right? So kind of one of those luck type decks. Of course, we are running the Elemental Badge in the deck, and that is going to reduce the attack cost of this Flareon by 1 colorless. So just for a colorless and a fire energy, we're going to be able to do that attack. So if we're able to, and we're running 4 of those elemental badges, right? So if we can get max detonates off consistently for 2 energy, it actually becomes quite a powerful attack. I mean, 300 damage on average just for 2 energy is actually really, really, really good, especially since we have that chance to do 400 or 500 damage. Not that you need to do 500, but the chances that you do have a 2 out of 5 chance, I suppose. Well, not really, but you get what I mean, to one-hit KO a Pokemon, any Pokemon. So definitely a really powerful attack, and it's definitely going to be pretty fun to play. We're running Green's Exploration, so that is going to be kind of the main draw engine with the list. None of our Pokemon have abilities, so Green's is going to help us find 2 trainer cards, and for the most part, that's going to be things like Pokegear, it's going to be Welder, it's going to be Elemental Badge. I think it's just going to be a really good engine. I think this deck will be a little bit more awkward after rotation, but for right now, I think that Green's makes a whole lot of sense with Flareon. We have Guzma Hala that's going to help us mainly just search for those special energies as well as the elemental badges. Definitely going to be really useful, but we also get to discard some cards, thin out our deck a little bit. 2 Marnie, and we do have a Welder in here. Welder's not necessarily super needed. I think that we can just attach every turn and typically just attack for 2 energies. Should be fine. But Welder is there if we need it. It is, again, searchable with Greens, and we can find it with one of our 4 Pokegear 3.0s, which we have. Make the deck a little bit more consistent in that respect. 4 Evolution Incense, 3 Quick Ball, 2 Great Balls. So lots of Pokemon search. We want to get these Flareons out on the board. It's a deck that you might be mulliganing a lot with, and that's kind of just how it goes. Only 4 basics in the deck, only 8 Pokemon total. But realistically, that's how these decks go. Kind of like a Green Zard type deal. Now it's like Green's Flareon. We are running a lot of energies in the deck, and that makes sense, right? Because when we discard those cards from our deck, we want them to be energies. 14 basic fires, 4 capture energies, 4 lucky energies, and 4 impact single strike energies. I don't know why I said impact, but just single strike energies. The single strike's good. We can attach that to the Flareon. It will boost the damage we do by 20. Which is actually quite good if you think about it. If we do get that 300 damage roll with max detonate, that comes to 320. That's enough to one-hit KO a lot of Pokemon in the format. So I really like the single strike special energy. Lucky energy, if we attach that and we get hit, we draw a card. So kind of just a way to move through our deck a little bit. And then capture energy, of course, can help us put another Flareon V down on our bench. But yeah, the deck is pretty simple. There's not a lot to talk about. Flareon VMAX, you're just going to be throwing those cards off the top of your deck, hoping they're energies. And hopefully you're not stacking your deck. I'm just kidding. It's PTCGO. But even if you were, who knows? I don't know. But the deck has a lot of potential. Can do a lot of damage. It's going to be a fun deck to play. Will it be top tier? I don't know. It could be. If people really kind of figure out how to play the deck and if it becomes that much more consistent, then yeah, it could be absolutely insane. But, realistically, I don't really see this card being that crazy. But I can see, you go first. You put Flareon V down, you attach to it, next turn you evolve, elemental badge, attach again, and then boom, we're off to the races, one-hit KOing everything before our opponent can really set up. So it does have a lot of potential. I've said that a lot in this video, but I think it is true. Can be really crazy at times. Could be terrible, though, sometimes. So that's just kind of what you get here with Flareon VMAX. Let me know what you guys think. Is this a deck that you guys would be interested to play? Could be really frustrating to play against when your opponent gets lucky and flips 5 energies 3 times in a row, and you're just like, really? But that's kind of how it goes. That's how these decks go. We're running 26 energies in the deck. So a must-have for a deck is energies, but it kind of has to be with a list like this. But yeah, definitely a funny one. Probably the most funny deck list that we'll take a look at tonight. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let's move on to the next one. All right, next up in the video, we actually have Sylveon VMAX. And now I think there's a lot of different ways we can play Sylveon. I think that the card was kind of made in that way. It is a Rapid Strike Psychic type Pokemon, and that is actually really good if you think about it. Let's take a look at Sylveon V, though. Rapid Strike, 200 HP, Psychic type. It's got the ability, our retreat cost of 1, weak to metal, by the way. These are weak to metal. It's got the ability Dream Gift. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for an item card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And if you use this ability, your turn ends. So that ability I know sounded really good to you guys until that last part, but could be really good. Realistically, I don't know if it's going to see that much merit if you are going first. Could be extremely good, but realistically, it has kind of a niche use to it. The attack, Magical Shot, 60 damage, 2 colorless. Not much going on here with Sylveon V, but the VMAX, definitely a little bit more interesting. 310 HP, Psychic type, Rapid Strike, retreat cost 2, weak to metal. First attack, Precious Touch, 1 Psychic Energy. Attach an energy card from your hand to one of your benched Pokemon. If you do, you heal 120 damage. Actually really good. Has a lot of utility there. Healing 120 damage while also accelerating in energy is really good. We're not doing damage, but it is actually a really good setup attack. Mid-late game, if we're kind of struggling to set up our board, that could actually really be the difference. I do like that Precious Touch attack. The second attack for 3 colorless, Max Harmony, 70 damage, plus 30 more for each different type of Pokemon on your bench. So that's kind of the idea with this deck, right? We have Psychic type Sylveon, and we have Fighting type Urshifu. We also have Octillery, and these are all Rapid Strike Pokemon. Octillery is Water type, and then we do have Moltres, which is a Dark type. Now, Urshifu Moltres is a kind of an archetype that some people are playing, so it does kind of make sense to throw Sylveon in a list like this. Gives you that much more coverage. We have Dark type attackers, Fighting type attackers, and Psychic type attackers, kind of getting the whole trifecta here. There's a lot going on, but it's probably going to be a little bit more consistent than you might think. We also do have a Ditto V. Since we have 3 different V-type Pokemon, the Ditto can kind of be whatever you need it to be, and I quite like that. Shout out to Ditto V. And the Moltres, of course, it kind of makes sense. There's a lot of, I suppose, colorless energy in our Pokemon's attack cost. Urshifu has one. Sylveon's got colorless energy. So, we can, of course, accelerate that energy with Dire Flame Wing, and then they'll use these energy switches to move them onto our Sylveon or our Urshifu. But I think it's also just there to be a Dark-type attacker in a list like this. And it kind of increases the amount of different types of Pokemon on our bench to do more damage with Sylveon VMAX. So I like the synergy there. I really, really do. We do have a Dedenne GX as well. Not going to run Crobat because it's also a Dark type, right? So we're kind of mixing and matching all the different types. We have Psychic. We have Psychic, Fighting, Water, Dark. We also have Colorless with Ditto, and then we have Electrotype with Dedenne. So we should be doing max damage with Sylveon. That is 70 plus 150, and that is going to be a nice 220 damage for 3 energy. Not too great, but if you think about it, we can actually attach the Rapid Strike energies to the Sylveon, and that's going to be a little bit easier to get the 3 energy attack cost. It's not incredible realistically, but the fact is it fits very well with Urshifu, and having a nice Psychic type attacker as well as a Fighting type attacker in your deck gives you a lot of coverage, and definitely could be really advantageous in a lot of matchups. The only downside with a list like this is you have to bench these different types of Pokemon. So if you're weak to one of these types, or if one of your Pokemon is weak to a certain type, if you're playing against Calyrex and you want to go Moltres, you definitely can do that. If you're, going against a Dark-type deck, or I guess you're going against a Metal-type deck, you don't want to go Sylveon, but it could be really good. So it's just kind of one of those deals that could be a little bit of a downside to the deck. 4 Research, 3 Marnie, 3 Boss, and we do have a Karina's Focus. It is searchable with Octillery, and you'll see we do have some Rapid Strike cards thrown in here. 4 Quick Ball, 3 Evolution Incense, 3 Energy Switches to move those Dark Energies around if we need to. 3 Switch cards, 2 Pokecoms, and we do have the new Ribbon Badge. And I'll pull it up, but I think, so Ribbon Badge is actually really good. It makes Sylveon that much more better, and it really makes this whole archetype seem a little bit more, playable in some respects. So Ribbon Badge is a tool card. You attach it to Sylveon. If this card is attached to a V Pokemon or VMAX Pokemon that has the name Sylveon in it, and it's knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, that opponent takes 1 free or prize card. So it pretty much just makes Sylveon VMAX a 2 prize card Pokemon, which is a lot more attractive, than if it were a 3 prize Pokemon. I think that this card is actually really phenomenal. I think it makes Sylveon that much more playable. We'll have to see. I don't know if Sylveon will really become meta, but I think that it is definitely one of the coolest Rapid Strike Pokemon in the game right now. And I just think that it makes Rapid Strike Toolbox decks that much more viable. There's other ways you can play this. We have Zorora, which is Electro-type Rapid Strike. We also have Blaziken, which is a Fire-type Rapid Strike, and that could go with Urshifu and Sylveon because they're all Rapid Strikes. They're all different typings. So I think Rapid Strike Toolbox could be really good. That's just another way to play Sylveon if you wanted to. But we also have Terror of Waters in here to give our Pokemon free retreat. We have 5 Dark Energies, 4 of the Rapid Strike Energy, and we also have 2 Spiral Energy, which is going to be an Aurora Energy that we can also attach to any of our Rapid Strike Pokemon without having to discard the card from our hand. So, I think that this deck is cool. It's definitely one of the coolest decks that I've seen with Sylveon in it. There's other ways to play Sylveon, but this was the one, to me, that seemed a little bit, the most interesting, the most playable in some sense, but You guys will have to let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of people do like Sylveon, so how do you plan on playing Sylveon VMAX? I'm actually really interested. I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below. But to me, I think that Sylveon VMAX is definitely one of the coolest cards that we're getting in Evolving Skies. So I really cannot wait. Yeah, let's move on to the next one. All right, now we are on to Dracozolt V and VMAX. Now, personally, I think this is probably going to be the lowest tier deck in this video coming out in Evolving Skies. The cards aren't absolutely phenomenal, and I apologize immediately because the list here on screen is a little bit out of place. For some reason, the VMAX isn't right next to the V for Dracozolt. Either way, we're running a 3-3 or a 4-3 lineup of those. 3-3, the Cinccino engine is what we're going to run. We do have a Crobat and a Dedenne, but you're not going to want to bench those, and we'll see why if you don't have to. Dracozolt V, let's take a look. 220 HP on this Electro-type Pokemon. Retreat cost of 3, weak to fighting. So, immediately doesn't sound that great. It's got the first attack for 1, Lightning Energy, Primeval Beak. 30 damage during your opponent's next turn. Energy cards cannot be attached to your opponent's hand. From your opponent's hand to the defending Pokemon. So, whatever you attack, they can attach energies to it. Can actually be quite a good little control card. Might actually really make the difference a couple turns into the game, but who knows? Second attack there. 2 Lightning and a colorless Mountain Swing, 180 damage. Discard the top 3 cards of your deck, so not very great. Also, those attack names are just, I don't know. I don't know who came up with those, but whatever. The VMAX, though, kind of cool. We'll take a look at it. 330 HP, Lightning type. It's got the first attack, Spark Trap, does 60 damage. However, during your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, even if it's knocked out, you put 12 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Kind of cool. Now, the first thing you might be thinking is, yeah, I mean, they can just like boss it up, boss something from the bench up and just attack that. And you're right. I mean, that's really the one reason why this deck is not going to be very good. Every deck runs boss's orders, and it's literally the one great way to counter Dracozolt. But we had to build the deck around that first attack anyway. The second attack for 1 Lightning, 3 colorless, 200 damage, max impact. Again, pretty terrible attack for 4 energies. We're never going to be using that attack. Although we are actually sometimes. We do have 3 of those triple acceleration energies. So if we need to pop off for 200 damage, we can certainly do that to finish off some KOs. But the deck is going to be built around Spark Trap, that first attack. You'll notice that in the deck we are running 4 Cheryls, and we are running... so we're running 4 Cheryls because we're mainly just going to be focusing around that first attack. We're going to attack with Spark Trap. Hopefully they hit us, take a bunch of damage, and then we're going to Cheryl up that damage, and then we're going to be full healed, and we can just attach again, similar to Jolteon like we saw in that Jolteon deck. But you'll also notice that we're running 4 Crushing Hammers, mainly just because this is going to be a little bit of an awkward deck to set up. And for that reason, we kind of want our opponent to not be able to go very quickly. We want them to kind of have to slow it down and play to our pace. 4 Crushing Hammers in here, why not? We also got 4 Quick Balls, 3 Switch, 2 Evo Incense, 2 Pokemon Communications, and we have 4 Giant Bomb. Giant Bomb is back, and it actually goes really well with Spark Trap. So, the whole idea with this deck, the whole idea with Dracozolt in this deck is that we Spark Trap, we attach Giant Bomb, we do 60 damage, but if they attack us, they take 220 damage. That is if they hit for 180 HP or more, but most Pokemon do that at this point. But yeah, so that's the whole idea. We want to force our opponent to not really be able to attack us, and if they do, they take a whole lot of damage. I mean, it's not a great strategy, like I said, because Boss's Orders is there, but I think it's the only way that you can really play Dracozolt. It's definitely pretty interesting, not going to lie. Yeah. I don't know. I guess you could play this with the new Milotic, I think, as well, which shuts off your opponent's abilities to boss up your bench Pokemon, so that could be kind of cool. But Dracozolt VMAX, kind of a meme deck, but something that I wanted to include because it's a new card. Technically, it's its own archetype, so I wanted to include it. Running 4 Basic Lightning, 4 Speed Energy is going to make this deck a little bit more fast-paced, hopefully, and 3 of those Triple Acceleration Energies. Like I said, we can attach it, attack for 200. It gets discarded, but at least we got that 200 attack off for just 2 energy attachment. Kind of niche, but you never know. Could come in handy. 1 Chaotic Swell as well, because why not? Might as well do it. I don't know. Just kind of made sense, I guess. I'm not even sure. I didn't build the list. I just found it online from, I think, Japan, and it definitely was a bit interesting to me, so I wanted to include it in the video. Don't got much else to say about Dracozolt. Just make sure that you have Boss's Orders ready in hand if you're ever going against this deck, and if you do, you're probably going to be totally fine. It's not going to do much damage to you, so you can kind of wait until you have boss's orders in hand, most likely, and you'll be fine. But let me know, what do you guys think of Dracozolt VMAX? Definitely funny, probably the lowest tier deck in this video, or at least one of them. Yeah, definitely not something you're going to see winning Chill Series very often, I guess you would say. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about Dracozolt VMAX. It's kind of funny. Let me guys know what you guys think about it. Let's move on. All right, moving on in the video. Next up, we have Umbreon VMAX, and I don't want to just kind of try to fool you here. It is Eternatus VMAX, but we do have Umbreon V and VMAX, which is coming out in Evolving Skies, which is definitely going to be a really good partner to Eternatus VMAX, so we might as well incorporate it into the deck. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to talk too much about this archetype. It's mainly E-Turn, but I guess we can talk about Umbreon V and VMAX. Umbreon V, they are single-strike Pokemon, 200 HP on the V here. Dark type, weak to Grass, though, so which is nice. It does kind of get rid of your fighting weakness from E-Turn, which is kind of cool. Moltres is also weak to Grass, so you can kind of go that route if you need to. First attack, Mean Look, 30 damage during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon cannot retreat. It is what it is. Dark and 2 colorless on Moonlight Blade, 80 damage, plus if this Pokemon has any damage counters onto it, does 80 more damage. Pretty lackluster. It's just a Pokemon. We're going to use it to evolve into the VMAX. However, I guess Mean Look could have its applications, but kind of a common attack. We see it all the time. Never really comes in too much handy. Umbreon VMAX, though, a little bit more interesting. Actually really hyped by a lot of people. Dark type, 310 HP, single strike Pokemon, retreat cost of 2, weak to Grass. It's got the attack max darkness, 3 energy, 160 damage, but we play Umbreon VMAX for the ability. The ability is Dark Signal. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may search your deck for one. You may switch one of your opponent's benched Pokemon with their active. So yes, it's literally boss's orders, but it's a Pokemon. Once you evolve Umbreon V into Umbreon VMAX, you can boss's orders. And you don't have to either. So kind of just something to keep in mind. But it's just another way for us to consistently boss's orders our opponent's Pokemon. Going to be a lot more easily searched out than it is to find boss's orders. So that's kind of the main idea with Umbreon. It also is a nice bench sitter Pokemon. So it's something that we can kind of use to populate our bench, which we want to do with E-Turn anyway. Yeah, I mean, it definitely has some applications. You could run Liepard in here as well. Discard tool cards when you play that from your hand to your bench. So just something to keep in mind. No Liepard in the deck, although it could be pretty good. But I figured, we're just going to run Tool Jammer anyway, because that's something that we're actually playing in E-Turn pretty commonly now. 2 Chaotic Swell, we definitely don't want Path to the Peak, because that definitely absolutely murders our deck. Turns everything off, turns E-Turn off, Crobat, Umbreon, Moltres. We definitely don't want to have to deal with that. For research, only 2 boss, because we do have Umbreon, 2 Marnies, and then we have all that nice Pokemon search. 3 energy switch, because we do have Moltres, going to be our main way we accelerate those energies. Pokecom, got the Tool Jammer, like I said, 2 Chaotic Swell, 7 Basic Dark, and 2 Weak Guard energies. I think that Weak Guard, you can kind of play it in E-Turn. I especially, in this new set, when Medicham comes out, I think Urshifu is going to be so good. I think that Weak Guard is almost going to be entirely necessary in Eternatus if you're going to be playing the deck. I don't know if this is going to be the best way to play E-Turn. And again, I don't know if a 3-3 lineup of Umbreon is actually the best way to play E-Turn, if you need that many in Eternatus. But it's the new card, so I figured I'd showcase a list that was built already, showcasing Umbreon. You're not really going to attack with it. Again, it's kind of a utility VMAX Pokemon. We don't see it very often. But since it is a dark Pokemon, and we can afford to put a lot of dark Pokemon on the bench when we're playing Eternatus VMAX, kind of makes a lot of sense. But again, I'm not going to talk too much about the deck. Let me know what you guys think. Are you going to try to play E-Turn, even with Medicham and Urshifu going to be so good after Evolving Skies comes out? Let me know. Umbreon, definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting, and I think it definitely is a good card. But who knows? And it might see play in other decks as well, not just E-Turn. But yeah, Umbreon VMAX, let me know what you guys think. How would you play Umbreon VMAX? What other decks do you think it could kind of fit in with? I'm curious to know. Please let me guys know. But let's get into the last deck of the video. All right, last but not least, we have the new Glaceon VMAX. And personally, I think that this card has so much potential. I think that it could be one of the most played decks, one of the most impressive decks in our format, honestly. But let's get right into the cards. Let's talk about it. Glaceon V, Water type, 210 HP. It is weak to Metal. It's got 2 attacks. The first one, Frozen Awakening for 1 Water Energy. Search your deck for a card. Search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon. Put it onto this Pokemon and evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. So if you are going second, it's a great way to get into Glaceon VMAX before your opponent's second turn. So definitely really good. Not a bad card at all, especially when we take a look at the VMAX. It's definitely going to actually be really good, that first attack. The second one, though, Water, 2 colorless, heavy snow, 120 damage. Discard a Stadium in play. Has a niche use, 3 energies, though, going to be a little bit awkward. Probably not going to be playing it too much, but I like that first attack. I really do, and it makes the deck that much more better, if I'm being 100% honest with you. Looking at the VMAX, though, 310 HP, water type, retreat cost of 2, weak to metal, just like the V Pokemon. It's got the ability, though, Crystal Veil. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks of your opponent's VMAX Pokemon, except any Glaceon VMAX. So, in the mirror match, you are going to have to attack. Both Glaceons will be able to attack themselves, but in any other matchup, just like Zamazenta with Dauntless Shield, you are going to be completely immune to attacks or damage from attacks of your opponent's VMAX Pokemon. So that's really good. It really is. That means that you get to compete against V Pokemon while you're a VMAX Pokemon, especially post-rotation. Every deck is going to focus a VMAX Pokemon, and I think that Glaceon VMAX is going to be absolutely meta, and they're going to have to counter you by playing at least some decent V-type attackers in their deck. So I really do like Glaceon VMAX. It's extremely powerful. The attack, though, water and 2 colorless, max icicle, 150 damage. This attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So actually quite a good attack for 3 energies. I know it's a little bit steep, but we are running the Frostmoth engine to get that attack off a little bit more consistently, but we can kind of play it slow pace with Glaceon, because we're immune to VMAX Pokemon. So keep that in mind. Kind of like Zamazenta. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it is very defensive, can be really good, and can kind of auto-win a lot of matchups. So I really do like Glaceon. I'm really, really happy with it. We have a Crobat, Dedenne, and a Mew in here. The Mew is going to be protect our Frostmoths, of course, and we actually have, which is really funny, and I want to pull it up so we can take a look at it. Here, give me 1 second. We have an Arctovish V. Another V water type card that is coming out in Evolving Skies. Very niche card. I don't find it seeing too much play, but it is definitely really interesting. 220 HP, weak to electric, retreat cost of 2. It's got 2 attacks. First one, water and 2 colorless. It has Ancient Freeze, 80 damage. The defending Pokemon, if the defending Pokemon is a V or a GX Pokemon, it cannot attack during your opponent's next turn. And then we also have Giga Impact, 2 water, 2 colorless, 220 damage, and you can't use the attack during your next turn. But that first attack can actually be quite good. It's really just another option, right, to kind of wall your opponent, force them not to be able to attack. I don't know if you're ever really going to want to go Arctovish over Sylveon, but it might be the next best option. And I think that it's actually, it has quite a good synergy with Sylveon. I think that they go together pretty well. Do I think it's going to be really good? Probably not. You probably don't need to run Arctovish in the deck, but I figured it was worth putting in here because, of course, it's a new card, and it does go well with Sylveon. Yeah, so we're running 4 Marnie, 3 Research, 3 Boss, 4 Quick Ball, 3 Evolution Incense, 2 Calm, so lots of consistency cards thrown in here. We do have 2 Capacious Buckets. Makes sense with the Frostmoth engine. 2 Switch, Ordinary Rod, and we have 3 of the new Snow Leaf Badge, and this is a tool card that can be attached to Glaceon or Leafeon. But when it's attached to either of those Pokemon do not have a retreat cost, and they do not have a weakness. So quite a good little tool card to attach to this Glaceon. Give it free retreat, get rid of it. It gets metal type weakness, so I think that's actually quite powerful, and I think it's definitely worth playing in the list. We also have 2 Air Balloons as well, going to help make that Frostmoth a pivot, Arctovish a pivot. Just going to be a really great card in general. 2 Chaotic Swell, of course. You might want to run a higher count of Chaotic Swell, especially post-rotation, because, well, you can't run it post-rotation, but before rotation, because Path to the Peak is going to be the one way, realistically, that we can get around Sylveon's ability. Path to the Peak is going to turn it off, and VMAX Pokemon, they can hit right through us. We definitely don't want that. We want that ability to be standing. We want it to be active at all times. So, 2 Chaotic Swell going to help stop those Path to the Peaks in play. But yeah, 11 water energies as well. But yeah, that's Glaceon VMAX. I really like it. I think that it definitely has a lot of potential. It's going to be very similar. It's going to be kind of similar to like the Altaria, Decidueye, Zamazenta archetypes, right? That do see a lot of success here and there. But it's just going to be kind of like a new flavor of that kind of play style and that archetype. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you think that it'll actually see play? Do you think that people would rather just play Decidueye? People would rather play Zamazenta decks? Let me know. I would like to hear, but it's definitely a great ability, and I think it has a whole lot of potential. to be 100% honest with you. But that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed these videos or enjoy these decks and this video. I know it was a lot of talking. I'll put the timestamps down below so you guys can kind of pick and choose, look at which decks that you want to look at. But if you've watched this video all the way through, I really do appreciate it. I spent a lot of time making this video. It took me a long time to record it, of course, and edit it. But I want you guys to know that I really do appreciate this. And if you subscribe to the channel, we're almost at 5,000 subscribers, so that would be absolutely phenomenal if you could do that. Like the video too, it helps support me as a content creator. Don't forget to play in Chill Series tournaments every Wednesday. We're going to be giving out Evolving Skies packs as prizing here starting next week, so I really cannot wait for that. But yeah, we're going to be covering post-rotation decks. We're going to be covering all of these new Evolving Skies decks and cards in more depth once they're released on PTCGO. We'll do full deck profiles, and we'll show you guys some gameplay. The deck lists that we saw in this video might change as well. And again, I'm not saying this is the best way you should be playing these decks. It's just to kind of get your mind spinning, get the gears rolling, to give you guys kind of an idea of what you might want to do with these cards once they are released. But yeah, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like the video, subscribe, means a lot to me. Let's hit 5,000 subscribers. And I'll see you guys all either tomorrow or Wednesday for Chill Series number 44. You guys have a great day. We'll see you guys later.